Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the class. How is it going, everyone? Are you all doing well?
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Alhamdulillah, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
I'm also doing good. So, what are your plans about Eid? Are you staying in Dhaka or are you planning to go to the village?
Sir, I am in my hometown almost 1.5 years.
Really? So you have not.
Yes, sir.
During the lockdown, you just went and you stayed there, right? Where is it?
Yes, sir. Sir, Bhola, Bodishal.
Okay. So do you have good internet connection there?
Yes, sir. But last few days, connection it is little bit low. Sometimes it's come, sometimes it goes. I don't know what is the problem. But now it's fine.
Right. Right. So, did you face any storm during the past few months?
Yes, sir. It's a really basis. I face lot of internet connection, and whenever rain starts, electricity literally gone, and I cannot connect to the internet at that time. So
That
that's
that
really difficult for me, sir.
that's too bad. So, if something like this happens again, please let us know, especially the faculties, and we are very happy to help you. If you are facing any accident or anything, you just let us know. Okay, no worries.
Yes, sir.
So what about the others? Are you all in Dhaka? Are you all doing good?
No, sir. I'm in my hometown, Kumilla. From
Uh,
the from the beginning of the lockdown.
like Mahyuddin. So, from the very beginning. So you are celebrating all the Eids and all the vacations there, right? Uh,
Yes, sir.
okay, that's wonderful, and I hope all of you are doing well. I think we have a little bit less infection for the past 2 or 3 days. I think the 12,000 is actually less because we were seeing 13,000 infection rate per day. So I think the situation is kind of improving, but I'm not sure. Let's see what happens after the Eid. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
a very strange thing that during the lockdown we are seeing the rise of infection, but whenever we actually allow people to mix together, we probably see less infection rate. That is probably a bias, maybe. Anyways, I want to know something that did you all create your project group? Did you find your team members?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I haven't found any teammates, sir.
No problem. Let me talk to the ones who have already fixed their group first. So, who have created the groups again?
So I have created one
Okay,
team of
James.
4 members.
So, you have 4 members in the group. Who are they?
Sir, Orpita Shaha, Mashuki Alum Jim, and Mohammad Safat Khan.
All right. So, you have a small 4-member team. That's good. What are your plans for the project? What are you planning to do for the project?
Well, sir, we want to create a website where uh, we will basically track prices of other websites like Steam and other places. We want to use web scraping to save the prices of each product in our database, and users can basically come and check history of a product if a product's price is increasing or decreasing. And we also want to give the ability that a user will be able to subscribe to a product like, hey, this product is currently $20. If at any time it gets under 15, give me an email about this product so that I can buy it at that time.
Interesting. So I would definitely love to hear more about the project. So what we're going to be doing is that I'm going to allow you to create the team members and finalize the team members within this week. So after Eid, we're going to have another class where we're going to actually let you formally present about your project. It's nothing. It will not carry any mark, but I will just see what are the things that you have in mind. So it's really wonderful to see that you have an interesting project in mind. So just for curiosity, how are you going to upload or update the data?
Sir, our first thought is that we will take data every day. Like if we are making an express server, we will have a set interval function which will check all the websites each day. Like we will have a 1 day interval for our website.
Okay, that's good. It's going to be automated cron job, right? So it's going to
Yes,
run
sir.
maybe for every day at 12 p.m. It will update the data. So I think that's
Yes,
going to
sir.
be that. And what you can do is you can uh, what happens is that sometimes the price actually fluctuates very quickly. So for those high sensitive items, you can have special batch where you only update the products who are having high frequency in changing prices, and you can maybe update the data within an hour, right? So this is
Yes,
something
sir. So this is
okay.
actually the initial thought. Our main
Of
idea
course.
was that online shops usually have different offers like
Hmm.
20%, 30%, and other things. We mainly want to track these kind of things so that whenever there is an offer or price changes, we want to do something similar to that. And but we are not exactly 100% sure of about the whole process yet.
No worries. So the way you can actually do this is by creating the automated process inside the admin panel. So instead of creating a hard-coded cron job, what you can do is you can create small programs that will actually take input from the admin side, and based on that, they will actually create the jobs. And from the admin dashboard, you can actually have the option to edit or delete the existing cron jobs. So this is something that you can also incorporate in your server instead of hard coding the scrapper, right?
Okay,
So
sir.
there are
So
lots of
like
ideas.
admin will say for this website, uh, track the data every 1 day or 1 hour or 1 week, something like that.
Yeah, there are lots of ideas, but my point is that the cron job should not be a separate thing, right? So it should not be something running separately from the server. It should be part of the server, and admin or the client should be able to control the workflow of the script within the dashboard that is provided by you,
Okay, sir.
right? So in that way, we are going to be able to say that, okay, this is part of the project feature. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
and we're going to mark based on that. So I think that's a wonderful idea, and I'm really looking forward to see what you come up with in the presentation. So now let me ask the others. So have anyone else created any project group?
So we have created
So how many members do you have?
so 4 members.
4 members. What are you planning
Uh,
to do?
so we're trying to, I guess you know it, like we're trying to work on student books, sir. Do I need to brief it again?
So are you trying to make the project again, or are you planning to upgrade it or something?
So upgrade it because last time the project was not completely fulfilled. So I guess it's a good chance to upgrade it more in this course.
If you are confident about it, you can do that. But I'm expecting that you would work with something new, similar to how James is working. So if you just follow the previous project, I would have certain expectations, and I am afraid that you might not be able to fill up that expectation. So it's good to start fresh if you think about it, because in the system analysis we had a lot of planning, and based on that we developed something. But here you can actually start from the very first 2 weeks of the course, and I think you should actually try something new. Okay.
Something new. Okay, sir. Sir,
So talk to your team members. Try to develop something similar, but in a more organized way.
sir, I kind of joined late, so can I hear like what James was trying to work on?
James was actually working on a price change tracker website. So they are basically creating a website where people will be able to subscribe to products, and they will be notified when a certain product gets a low price or an offer, right? So it's a different idea, not something similar to sad lab. So I also want you to try to make something new so that your experience widens instead of
Uh,
focusing on something.
Sir, I
So
have one question. If I try to develop a game, then will I be able to use engines like Unity game engine or Unreal?
I prefer not to, because then it will be very difficult to mark, because we are going to be using certain tools, and it will be very difficult to have a fair mark, right? So I would suggest that you try to create something like that in the graphics lab, where everyone is developing something like that.
Okay, sir.
So I was thinking about game, but I don't think this would be a good idea, because clearly I think your team members will probably not be up for this. Who are your team members?
Sir, Mohammad Mustafizur Rahman, Alamin, and Azizul Hakim.
Okay, so whatever you do, you sit with the team members and try to find something, and make sure that every team member is actually equally contributing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And what you can also do is you can also employ some other people, so that you have 6 members group, and also 2 James. All of you, I encourage to have 6 members, so that you can work more, and so you can also contribute more into a single project, instead of having lots of projects, right? So there's something that you can do. And what I'm going to be doing today is that I'm actually going to give you some floor after the class. So I'm not going to terminate the class, and I will actually leave the class on after I leave. So what you can do is you can actually stay in the class, and you can have a discussion among each other about the team members. So what happens is that you might have 4 members, and there might be 1 or 2 person that are not in the group. So you can actually take them in the group, and you can share the ideas and so on, right?
Sir, I have another question.
Yes.
Sir, as you're saying, we should start a new project. Sir, does it have to be like a kind of big project, or can we make it a short, sorry, small project?
Uh, Small project means?
Like kind of basic projects where we'll be working on few features. Like I don't know the idea, but I'm asking that, like as you can see, Eastern Book was actually a very big project, and that's I'm trying to say that
The
the
problem
idea.
with, if I remember correctly, the problem was not that the project was big. It was equal to the other projects as well. But I think there was a lack of planning, and a lot of planning did not go according to the plan. So that was the problem in that project. So that's why I'm telling you to abandon that project, and you can actually think through with some other members later about that project. But you can start something else where you will actually be able to show off your skills. For example,
Yes.
the front end development, and also you can try out some new stuff. You can try out React. Also, you can try out different types of database. For example, there are different NoSQL services. So
Yes.
these projects are actually opportunities for you to learn or apply new technology. So that's why I'm saying that, okay, don't continue the old project, try to make something new. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. So we have now 8 members, 8 students who are actually in any group. So what about the others? I think I have 10 other people here, or excluding me, I have 9 other people. So have the others made any group?
Hello, sir. I'm Saurabh Sarkar.
Hello, Shurab. Did you make any
Sir,
group?
yes, sir. We have included 3 members right now. So another the fourth member has not yet been registered. So he will register soon, and we will include that person also. The project that we are going to develop in this course is unused medicine donation system that I have included in the Google form. I think you have seen it, sir.
Tell me about it.
So, sir, this system will actually, what it will do is that we know that the treatment in our country is actually very much costly. So, and what is happening right now is that many expensive medicines are being wasted nowadays. So, what we have decided is that we will design a system that will provide the unused medicines to the nearest NGOs, so that the NGOs can then provide those medicines to the poor and needy people. So that's our main idea, sir. Actually.
Okay. So what? So how many? So what are the name of the team members?
So the team members are Abdul Mutaleb, Abdullah Hil Majid, and including me, sir, Saurabh Sarkar, and another member will register soon, and we will include that member also.
Okay, that sounds good. About the others who are listening in the class, so you have heard about these 3 groups. So if you want, you can join in their groups to make to contribute in that group. Okay, so if you are not in a group, you can also join in any of the 3 groups that we were talking about, and also you can form your own group. And I really encourage that you have 5 or 6 members in the group, because that's how we can actually do more in a project. So Saurav, what we are going to, so you have already submitted the form?
Yes, sir. I have already submitted the form, sir.
Okay, so you have mentioned 4 people in the group, right?
Sir, including me right now, it is 3 members, and another member is we will include him. He has not yet been registered, sir. So after the registration, we will include that person in our team. So there will be 4 members actually. So
So
the
in the
group is
form there
actually
are
full, sir.
we can have 6 members in the group as high as it goes. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, no
But my
problem.
question is that in the form, did you mention the 4 roll numbers or 3 roll numbers?
So I mentioned 3 roll numbers, sir, because the person was not registered, so I did not include that number,
Okay,
include
when
that
the
ID.
person is registered, you should actually edit your submission, or if you cannot edit it, you should actually resubmit again. Okay.
Yes, sir. I will resubmit the form with the including the 4th person, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right, sure. Anyone else who created the group?
Sir, I don't have a group yet, but I can think of 1 member and me, 2 members right now. I'm looking for other members.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm gonna need some more time, sir.
Okay, no worries. But you can think in the class. The first thing
Yes,
that
sir.
you need to do is actually collect the group members. You can think of a project later. We have some time. So, but you have to finalize the group members within this week, and especially today, because this is the last class probably we're going to have before the Eid vacation, right? So
Okay,
what
sir.
you do is that you stay after the class. I'm not going to time you at the classroom, so you can communicate with the others. For example, Rafi Shari is probably not in any group, and I think there are some other people also who have not formed any group, so you can also communicate with them and have the group.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And did you all see the
Sir,
student
I
list
have
that I had provided? Yes, Arpita?
Sir, did you made any form to submit?
Yes, I posted the
Oh,
link in the
we
ELMS
didn't
announcement.
notice, sir. Sorry, sir.
Yes, I think it was in the ELMS. Did you see the announcement, the others? Is it there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think I posted a notice, and
It's there, sir.
it also contained the limitations. For example, the group size 4 to 6, and also the link. And I also provided another link that contains all the names of the students who have registered in the, till the last week, and also their email addresses. So did you all see the student list also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's a student list there.
Sir,
So what
we
you do?
saw the student list, but I didn't notice the form. Can I submit it right now?
No rush. What you can do is you can submit by today. You can stay in the class now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Isn't the link is not there for the form? I think.
Sir, it's inside announcement, and we didn't
Yeah.
check inside announcement. Sorry, sir.
Okay. So where did you see the list?
Sir, it's in Google Drive, sir.
Oh, it's in Google
And,
Drive.
sir,
Okay,
the
fine.
Drive
Yeah, okay, fine.
is
Okay. So in the announcement there are 2 links. Okay, no worries. So so did I miss any group? I think that's probably all. So I think the rest of the members or students have not joined any group. So I would request that you stay back and you communicate in the chat box, and also after the class you can also communicate verbally to those who are actually interested. And what you can do is you can put your email addresses and saying that, okay, I want to join a group. And those who have 2 members who can they can put the text in the chat box saying that I'm going to be needing 2 more members, and so on, right? So in this way you can communicate in the chat box, and within today's class you try to finalize your group members and submit in the form. Okay, and let me start today's class then. So I have provided the a Google Drive link, and there's a week 2 folder there, and I have provided the necessary files and also a lab sheet for today's experiment. I'm going to provide the link to you. Let me know if you can access the lab sheet. Let me post the link here, and you can also join, find the drive link in the ELMS. So this is the link to the week 2 folder that I have created, and I want you to go there, and I want you to download the PDF file, which is the lab sheet, and also the zip file. So there's something that we're going to be working with. So in today's class, we're going to be working with something very, very simple, something that you have definitely seen in the DBMS lab, and we're going to be starting with that. So go to this link and download the PDF and also the zip file. After downloading, open the lab sheet and let me know.
So is it in the Google Drive?
It is in the Google Drive. I have posted the link. Can you access?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I can access.
That's good. So what I want you to do is I want you to open the lab sheet, and I want you to give it a quick look for 2 minutes. All right, so this is the first experiment that we're going to be doing. So it's technically not an experiment. So we have said that in our software engineering lab, we're going to be learning some of the tools that are frequently used by the software engineers in real life, and also we're going to be seeing some of the patterns that they follow. So in the last class, I have talked about a methodology or a software development process that we encourage to follow instead of following the waterfall model. So do you remember what the other model was that I was talking about?
Yes, sir.
What is the name of the other model?
Agile.
Yes,
Agile.
it was called the agile model. So can anyone tell me what is the difference between the normal waterfall model and the agile model?
Sir, in waterfall model, after doing a step, we can't go back. And while in agile model, we do things by sprint to sprint, and we can make changes like after
Wonderful.
developing.
Excellent.
Yes.
So this is exactly what we do. So what we the waterfall model is very rigid, and it's a very ideal planning. So you can think of the waterfall model as how you ideally think you will prepare for the exam. You think that, okay, I have 7 days and I have 7 chapters, so I will finish 1 chapter every single day. But what happens is that the last night before the exam, you see that you have done only half of the first chapter, right? So you change your plan and you quickly go back to saying that, okay, I will finish 7 chapters in 7 hours, right? The last night before exam. We all know that. So this is
Yes.
kind of like the waterfall model. What happens is that so a software development actually involves a lot of people, and it's very common to have miscommunication. It might happen that the client is telling something, the developers are not really understanding what's actually happening, and especially it happens when the clients are not really technical. So if we follow the waterfall model, what will happen is that after spending certain amount of time doing the planning, when we develop the actual software and show it to the client, they will actually feel very confused because this is something that they did not really want. So instead of creating the whole plan together, what we do is that we brainstorm the ideas and we list down the things that we understand the customer would want, and we take a bucket, and inside the bucket we say that, okay, within the 2 weeks we are going to do some of the important stuff of this bucket, and after 2 weeks we show the update to the client, and based on the feedback of the client we actually change our plan, or if the client is happy, we actually continue working the way we are working. And in this way, if there is any change needed, we can actually adjust and accommodate that. So the difference between the waterfall model and the agile model is that we are actually delivering something after a certain amount of time in a regular interval, and that interval is something that is called sprint. This is something that you have probably learned in SAT lab. So the important thing to keep in mind is that we are not really going to be selecting random features, and we're not really going to be selecting random items, and we're not going to be implementing that. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be thinking that, okay, what is the software about? And we're going to be trying to be implementing the most important feature first. So if you think of a blog website, the most important thing for a blog website would be posting a blog. So what you would want is that before you create any homepage or any fancy icons or stuff, what you do is you just create a text area and a button, and you show that the client can actually post a blog, and it is saved, and you can actually see it in other pages. So during the first prototype that you show to the client, you must ensure that the basic communication between the data source and the front end is actually done. So what we need to do when we are creating a prototype is that we need to ensure that we have the Crud operations working for at least one feature. So let's say we have a website where you are showing the stock price and everything. So in the first prototype, what is something that you should show to the client? What do you think? Should you create a beautiful homepage which does not work, or should you list down all the companies that are available? What should be the first prototype if you want to create a stock tracking website, stock market tracking website? What is the first thing that what should be in the first prototype when you're showing to the client? What do you think?
In prototype, sir, in prototype, sir, we'll just create a home page, like we'll be able to see what my project will look like. And after,
so I think I did not really use the prototype in the right way. So when we are discussing with the client, we show them a prototype of how the software would look like. That's something. But when we are delivering the first deliverable, which is the first version of the software, what are the things should be there in the software? Let's say,
sir.
Listing all the companies.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my point is that, okay, you can list all the companies, but the thing is that you should allow the client to actually feel what the software will be able to do. So you should not really have a static web page, or you should actually allow the client to add at least one company to their favorite list, or you should allow the client to at least talk to the database and do some operation in the database. So this is what we are actually going to be doing. So what you need to do is that when you are posting your first deliverable or first version of the software, you actually need to ensure that at least one feature of your list contains the Crud operations, which means that the client is able to create something in the database, the client can read something from the database, they can update something, and also delete something in the database. So these are the 4 things. These are the main operations that we actually do, and you should actually give all 4 operations of some feature in your first prototype when you're showing to the client. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be showing how we can very easily create these things without focusing on the details. So in order to create that, we are assuming that we are using a DBMS system, and we are assuming that we are using MySQL. And if you have gone through the DBMS lab, you already are familiar with PHP, I think. and you probably have the XAMPP software installed, right? Do you have the XAMPP?
Yes, sir.
I think you do. So in the lab equipments, we are going to be needing the XAMPP, and we are going to be needing another software for our third objective. So in today's class, we're going to be seeing how we can actually very quickly create the Crud operation, where we will give the client a very basic feel on how they can actually contribute to the system. And for this, I have created a zip file. So the zip file is probably also in the drive. So I want you to open the crud.zip. So if you open the crud.zip, it should contain a crud folder. I think you have downloaded it. And what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be copying the crud folder in our XAMPP public directory. So does anyone remember what was the purpose of XAMPP?
So to set up a
Creates local
database server.
Yeah. So basically, this is a software that actually converts our computer into a
server.
So basically, what will happen is that it will have a folder, and that folder is called probably htdocs. And if you save some HTML file there, you will be able to access them through the server system using your browser. So this is what we are going to be doing. We are going to be creating some pages, and also the XAMPP has another benefit, is that it actually allows you to talk to the database system. In our case, the MySQL database. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be creating some dummy tables, and we're going to be adding some dummy data to that. And then we're going to be actually seeing that how we can actually very quickly use the for operation, and how we can actually implement them within very short time. And you're going to have your first online based on this. So I'm going to give you a scenario on the online, and based on this, you are going to be creating some of these operations, and you're going to be creating some of the APIs that we're going to be seeing here. So without further ado, let me open up the XAMPP. So if you have XAMPP installed, you should be able to access the folder. And if you don't have it, you can download it from here. And while we are working on the other stuff, you should also download this software that we're going to be using very soon. So to download this, you just click on this link, and it will take you to the download page. And here, if you click here, you will actually be able to download a zip file, and it will contain an exe. So I want you to download this file also. So after the download has started, let's go to the XAMPP folder. So commonly, the XAMPP folder is in the C drive, and inside the C drive, you have the XAMPP folder, which is not necessarily in the program folder. So in the XAMPP, you will see that there is a folder called htdocs, and this is basically the public folder that actually allows the browser to actually access the HTML files or the PHP files. So what we're going to be doing is that the Crud folder that you have created, the Crud folder that you have downloaded, you will actually copy the Crud folder into this htdocs folder. So I want you to do that now. Let me know if you have done that. The Crud zip file that I have provided, you download it, and you copy the Crud folder. The zip contains a Crud folder. You copy this into the htdocs folder. Did you do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So and one other thing, did you start the download of ngrok? Could you download it?
Yes, sir. I downloaded it.
Okay, that's good. I'm also asking the others. Did you all download it?
Downloading.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no worries. So what we are doing here is that we're trying to create our first releasable version to the client, where we're going to be showing the basic CRUD operation, so that the client can actually interact with the database. So what happens is that you were probably talking about listing the companies. So if the client can only see the companies and they cannot interact with the companies, the list, they will think that, okay, this is a static website. So we must give the client the power to edit some of the information that is actually in the database. So that's why we have the CRUD operations. So if you open the CRUD operation folder, you will see that we have a lot of PHP files that are supporting those operations. And we also have a text file called create.db. So it contains the code to create a database. So if we want to create any database, or if we want to uh, open up the web pages, the first thing that we need to do is that we need to start the XAMPP using the control panel. So do you remember how do we start the XAMPP?
Yes, sir.
We go to the XAMPP folder, and what is the name of the file that we start?
So XAMPP control.
We can use the XAMPP start, but we also want to start something else. That's why we actually open up the XAMPP control panel. If we double click there, the XAMPP control panel should open. I want all of you to follow along, because after I show you the demonstration, I will be giving you some task, and you will actually have to do it. And I will ask you to share your screen to show the result of the task. I think it's running. All right. So this is the XAMPP control panel, and what it offers a lot of web services. So the ones that we are going to be needing is the Apache and the MySQL. So do you remember what is the purpose of Apache? What does Apache do?
So this is the web server.
This is the actual web server. So what happens is that when you are writing localhost or your computer's IP in the browser, it actually sends a request to your network card. So the software that listens to the network card and actually takes the request to the PHP files and then forwards the response is actually the Apache. So Apache is doing all the middle works there. So it's kind of like a manager that is listening to all the responses that are coming, requests that are coming into the network card. And we also have another service which is called the MySQL, and this is basically the database. So it is kind of like a server. So when we try to do a query, this service actually listens to the query and then generates the output from the database. So if you notice, you will see that there is one port for MySQL, but there are 2 ports for Apache. Can anyone tell me why there are 2 ports for Apache? Any guess?
Sir, 80 is usually used for web server. So I guess when we want to actually get our website online, that's when we will use 80, and for local use 443.
The answer is very close. So the actual thing is that when we are typing a website's name, we don't really mention any port. So if we don't really mention anything, the default port that the website hits is the 80 port. So the 80 port is responsible for handling the HTTP protocol. So if you are talking in HTTP, which is the most of the web pages, you actually go to the 80 port. And there is another protocol which is called the HTTPS. Have you seen that? Now most of the pages are actually HTTPS.
Yes.
If you have a look
Yes,
into
sir.
any page, you will see that there is an extra S there, and that S is basically the secured version of the HTTP. So when you are normally sending the HTTP files, you are actually sending the data in plain text. But if you want to send some secure information, for example, your username and password, you want to send it into the secured version. So every time you post something in the HTTPS protocol, it actually goes to the 443 port instead of the 80 port. So there are two ports. One is for the non-secured one, and another one is for the secured one. So we are going to be using the non-secured one for now, because we don't really have any SSH or SSL script here. So we are not really going to be using that. So let's try to open up the local host and let's see what the XAMPP actually serves us. So we are seeing that when we go to the local host, it actually takes us to the home page of the XAMPP. But what we want to do is that we want to go to the htdocs, and we have created a folder called Crud. So we would actually want to see what is actually in the Crud folder. So let's first go to the Crud folder. So what we want to do is that in the local host or in the htdocs folder, we want to go to the Crud, and we want to see what is actually inside there. So even though I did not mention the file name, it actually takes me, it gives me a file. And what happens is that in the Crud folder or in any htdocs folder, if you don't really have any, if you don't mention any file name, it will actually try to look for a file called index.html or index.php. So if you don't mention any file name, it will actually by default take you to the index file. So we have an index file right here. So let me open up all the files so that you can all see. So this is an index.html file. And let me open up the folder here. Actually, let me open up all the files. Okay. So now we have the index.html. And this HTML actually contains a single link. So this contains the name of the database and the tables and so on. And it gives you a link where if you go there, it will actually allow you to read data from the table. So we have a very simple template where you can actually work and change to create new and new stuff. So let's say, for example, we have a database called DB0, and there's a table, and inside the table, you have some fields and some data. So we want to create a database and also some tables. So if you want to create a database using XAMPP, you need to have something called the phpMyAdmin. So does anyone remember how to open the phpMyAdmin or how to access the database system in XAMPP?
Yes, sir. Localhost/phpMyAdmin.
Right. So all you have to do is you have to go to the localhost/phpMyAdmin. You will notice that although we are saying localhost/phpMyAdmin, it is not actually in the htdocs folder. Because for this particular phpMyAdmin, you have a different routing. So it's actually not here, but it is actually in this folder. So this is a special folder that actually allows you to access the database. So what we're trying to do is that we are seeing that, okay, how can we very quickly create a database and some table, and we can allow the Crud operations very quickly without a lot of hassle. Because this is something that we want to deliver when we are actually showing to the client. We want the client to interact with the database. So here we have a database. We have a server, DBMS server, that contains a lot of database. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be creating a very simple database that we can actually read and write and update and delete. So for this, I have a list of queries that we can actually perform. So let's try to create the database. I think this was for the class assessment. So let me create the database. What is the name of the database? I think the name of the database is
D0.
DB0.
Okay.
So here we have the name DB0. So we are going to be creating a database called DB0, and we are going to be using that DB0. So it's not probably in your zip. Your zip probably has the right name. So these are the commands that we're going to be doing to create an actual database, and then we're going to be creating the tables. I think this is not the file that I have given you. I think this was for the classwork. So let me open up the actual file that I have given you. It contains a very simple table that we can actually interact with. So let me download this. Unfortunately, we cannot see zip files in the Google Drive. All right, so we have a Crud folder, and what I want is the create DB, the original one. So this is the original create DB. So let me paste that. So this contains the database and the tables. So the way we can actually create the database and also the table is by using the PHP MyAdmin directly. So what we can do is we can select the server, and inside the server that we can say that okay, we want to create a database. And let's say we want to create a database called say test database test1, and if we click on the test1 and click create, it will actually create the database for us. And this database does not really contain any table. So if you want to create a table, you name the table here, and you also mention the columns, and then you will actually be given the option to modify what kind of data type each column will hold. So can anyone tell me what is the difference between a database and a table?
Database and
This
table.
contains many table.
A database contains many tables, right? This is
And
exactly,
tables.
yeah. So this is exactly what a database is. So a database contains a lot of tables. It's kind of like saying that, okay, a building contains many rooms. So if you want to have a lot of rooms, they will be inside a building. So sometimes we have a lot of entity. For each of the entity, we have a lot of table. So if we want to have all the tables together, we create a database, and inside that, we create the tables. So you can create a table like this, but we have already created the database and everything, and this is the exported version of this one. So what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be copying these codes, and I'm actually going to be running this query to actually generate these database. So the way you can do that,
Where
yes,
can I get those codes, or should we just type?
I'm just going to be showing you how we can actually get this code. So let's first run the go to the server, and then let's say you have the code. Are you saying that where did I get this code? This code is actually in the Crud folder. In the Crud folder, you have a text file called createDB. It should contain this text file. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think I think you were talking about how we can generate these kinds of texts. Was it?
No, sir. I was asking where can I find it.
Okay, so this text is actually in the createDB.txt.
Yes, sir.
So this is the only text that contains the database query. Others actually are the PHP files. So let me copy this one and then try to run this. And if you want to run the commands, you have to go to the SQL tab. And inside the SQL tab, you just paste it. And if you paste it, and then you actually click the go button, and I already have the database here. So if I try to create it again, I think it will give me an error, but it should be created for you. So the database already exists here. So I cannot create it, but I think if you run this, you should be able to create this. So I want you to create the database now.
Yes,
And let me know. Okay, it's created. Okay. So so this is the database that we have created, and you can actually create it using the graphical user interface also. So let's have a look at in the database. So in the database, you have a very simple table, which is T0. You can change it in any way you want. Inside the table, you have two fields, F0 and F1. And we have assigned two values, and one extra value was created previously. So you have some values in the field 0 and field 1. So this represents any type of table or any type of database that you may have in your project. So let's say you're creating your own project. So the first thing that you want to show to the client is that you have a working database, and your website can actually interact with the database in the in this, and all the Crud operations are supported. So the first thing that you will do is that you will create all the basic tables.
Sir, database cannot be created because ID is integer, but the value we're inserting is a string.
Is that an error that is being shown?
Yes, sir.
That's strange. Did you put any space here?
No, sir.
Okay, that's strange. So what you can do is you can actually remove this command. I'm not sure if this is happening.
Okay, sir, I'll just change these commands to make it work.
Yeah, you can. So let me explain these commands to you a bit. So what we do is that when we are executing this command, we are actually going to the server of the database, and then we are executing the commands. So the first thing that you need to do is that you need to create the database, and then you have to say that, okay, I'm going to use this database, and then you say that I'm creating a table, and inside the table, how many fields do I have?
Sorry, sir. Can you ask it again?
The question is that the first thing that we have done is that we have created a database, and then we are selecting the database for using, and then we are creating a table. So how many fields are there in this
Three.
table? There are three. As we can see, there are actually there are actually
F0, F1.
yes, ID, F0, and F1. There are three columns in the table, and we are defining the ID to be a primary key. What that means is that the ID is going to be unique. So the way to manage the primary key is to set it as auto increment. So what will happen is that we don't really need to worry about assigning the ID every single time. And when we are inserting the data into a row, we just leave this field ID as blank, and it will automatically add an ID for you. So we don't really need to worry whether the ID is unique or not. And whenever we need it, we can actually access the ID in the PHP files. So this is how we can actually create the database. And let me quickly show you how we can actually generate this code from the PHP admin. So let's say you have a database like this, and you want to generate this code. So you want to import this into a text file like this. So the way to do that is to first select the database, and then you actually go to the export. So when you click the export, it will actually give you the option to export the whole database and the whole content. Now there is a problem if you are now exporting this. Let me show that to you. So if I click go now, it will actually generate the text file, and it will contain the command to create the whole database. So let me show that to you. There is a problem here. So if I open it, you will see that this is the whole schema. And if you think about it, it actually starts from create table. And if you now run this in any database server, it will actually give you an error. And it will tell you that no database is selected. So whenever you're exporting this, you need to keep in mind that you have to actually add these two lines on the top of the schema if you want them to work. So you have to add these two lines. The first one is which database you are actually using. So you create this, and then you select that database before you can actually create the tables. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So this is one thing that you should keep in mind. Okay. So enough of the database. I think we were having a database management class. So let me move on to the actual work that we are trying to do. So what we want to do is that we want to actually do the CRUD operations in the database. So the way to do that is first go through the files that we have. So the first thing that we have is the index.html file. And this is the file that we were talking about. And it contains a link. Now let me click that link, and it will actually take you to a file called read.php. So if we go to the read.php, we shall see that it is actually a PHP file. And this PHP file contains all the codes to actually do the CRUD operations. So if you think about it, what now we are doing is that we are seeing the files one by one. So the first thing that we have done is that we are in the index.html file. We are following the link. So we can see that we have a database named db0, and we have a table named t0, and we are seeing if we can read the content of the database. And I have opened the read.php file to see what is actually inside. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have the CRUD operation. We can already see one operation in action. Which operation is that? The CRUD means the create, read, update, and delete. Which operation did we see just now? We have
read.
We have just read from the database. So we have done the first operation. Let me show you how we have done this one. So in order to read from the database, you will have to use a PHP function called MySQLi connect. And to this, you have to pass 4 things. The one thing is that where is the location of the database? Another 2 things is the username and the password. Usually it is root and empty. And then the name of the database that you want to connect to. So what we have done here is that all these things, we have actually created 4 variables for this. So we have put them into this particular file, and every time we want to use this, we actually include them into our PHP file. So let me open this file to you, and you will see that it contains only 4 variables or 4 constants that you can use. So we have created these 4 constants that will contain the value of the location and the username and password and so on. Now let me ask you, why did we create the constants in a separate file? We could have easily written localhost here and root here and empty here and db0 here. Why did we bother to create other constant files, and why did we put them in other files? Did you get my
Because
question?
yes, sir.
Sir,
Because
when we are uploading them, we not
Mhm.
upload via a file containing credentials.
sir, so that we can use it on other files, and if we make changes, that we just have
Yeah,
to make change in one files.
right. So this is exactly why we put the content into a single file. So what happens is that, are we going to be connecting the database in only read.php, or are we going to be using the database connection in other files too? Are when we are creating something, when we are deleting something, aren't we going to be using the database also?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So for those things, we are also going to be needing these credentials. So if I hardcode these username and the password and these things in every single file, and one day I decide to change the password, what will happen is that I will actually have to go through all the files, and I will have to change the password in all the files. So if I want to avoid this, what I would do is that I would write down the password in only one file, and then every time I am trying to connect to the database, I will just include this file that will contain the password and everything. So if I even change the password, I will change in only one location, and every other places will automatically become changed. Do you understand the benefit of writing them in the
Yes, sir.
file?
Yes.
So this is the benefit of doing this. And after we have included them, and now we have a variable that actually has a physical connection or a actual connection to the database, and we can use that to execute some of the queries. So the first query that we want to execute is to read the content of the database. So what is the TBMS query? To read all the content from a table.
Select all
Select
from
star.
Select
table.
all, which means select star, right? So this is
Yes,
exactly
sir.
what we have done. So the table name we have created is T0. So we have executed this function, a query called select star from T0, which means we want all the columns to be visible. And we are using a function that is given by PHP to actually execute this particular query that takes a database object and also the query that we want to execute. And the result that we're going to be getting is going to be stored here. So this is going to be the result that will contain the total connection to the list of the rows. So now what we want to do is that we want to show all the data one by one. So in order to do that, what we have done is that we have created a table. This is a basic HTML table. We have a table, and then we have the table header, which contains the columns F0 and F1 and so on. And then we also want to have the option to do the deleting and updating. I'm coming to that. And then for each of the table rows, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be creating the data columns. So we are using a while loop, and in the while loop, what we're doing is that we're taking the result variable and we are calling a function on that. So what this function is doing is that it is taking up one row at a time. So in our database, I think we have 2 or 3 rows. So every time I'm calling a function, calling this function, this result is handing over one row at a time. So the first time I'm calling this function, it is handing me the first row. So do you remember what is actually inside the first row of the database? In the table 0, what is the first row of the database?
V00, V01.
Yeah. So in the F0, we have V00, and in F1, we have V01, and in the ID, we have 1. So we have 3 data that is being passed in the first call. In the second call, we have this data, and in the third call, we have this data, and after that, it's going to return null. So we understand that we have run out of data, and we will finish the while loop. So this is the while loop that is happening here. Now, the way the while loop is working is it is actually giving us the data, and we are storing this into the rows. Okay. So what we want to do is that from the row, it contains all the 3 columns. We want to have them in separate variables. So what we want to do is that we want to create variables from those rows. So let me show you what I mean. So every time I am generating a row, let me show you what happens inside that row. Let me first comment these things out so that you can understand what is actually happening. And let me uncomment this so that we can understand what is actually inside this row every single time, what is happening. If I now refresh this, you will see that the first time it is actually giving us this array. The second time it is giving us this array. And the third time it is actually giving us this array. So since we have, I have 3 rows in the database, it's giving me 3 rows. So we have an ID that contains the value 1. And then we have F0 that contains V0. And we have the F1 that contains the V01. So we have the key and the value. So the key is actually basically the name of the column, and the value is actually the content of the cell. Now what we want to do is that we want to create variables having the name of the column. So what we would want to do is that we want to create a variable contained F0 that will have the value of this. We want to create a variable called F1 that will contain the value of this. So in order to do that, we have a function. That function is called extract. So that's why we have called the extract function. The extract function's job is to create variables based on the key. So give me what are the keys in the rows variable? ID
F0, F1.
ID, F0, and F1. So what the extract function will do is that it will create 3 variables. One F0, another F1, and also another one is actually ID. So it will create the variables and it will put the values inside those variables. So all I have to do now is actually print out the variables, and it will actually put the values there. So as you can see, we have the $F0 here, but I did not really create any $F0 variable here. So how was it created?
Using extract.
Using the extract. So extract can automatically create variables from the array that we are creating using this function.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes?
If we already defined $F0, then that value will be overrated, right?
That value will be overwritten. And we would not definitely do that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's how we are actually getting the data. So this is how we are actually reading this. And we are printing the value of F0 and F1, as we can see right here. So let me refresh that again. We will save that. Let me save that, and we can refresh this, and it will give us the values. So this is how we are actually reading this. Now let's try to create a record. So if we want to create a record, what we would need is that we would need to have a form. Let me follow the link here. If we want to create a record, we need to go to the createinput.php. So there's a file called createinput.php, and it contains a form. So what will happen is that if you want to create a data, you have to take the input from the user. So if you want to have some input, you have to put them in a form. And the purpose of the form is to have a target. So where you want to send the data to. So we have 2 inputs here that will contain the value of F1 and F2. And what you want to do is that when you press the submit button, it should actually send these information into the create result.php file. So the way it is going to send the PHP file, the data into the PHP file, is using something called the get method. So have you seen something like this in any URL? You might have seen something like this. For example, uiu.com/news, and you have a question, ID equals to 5.
Yes,
so what
sir.
do you think this would do? You might have news.php and then question and then ID equals to 5. So what do you think this link would do?
Sir, this link goes to that file and passes parameters, and
Right.
that is ID and that value is 5.
Exactly. So if I want to pass a information into a PHP file, I would use these kinds of syntax. So if I don't mention anything, and if I say, or the by default method is actually get. So if I mention get here, what will happen is that these values will actually be passed into this file using that convention. So let me show you how that works. So if I click on the create new record option, so as we can see, we have two inputs. Let's create one input A0 and another one A1. So these are the two values that I'm passing here. So as soon as I click on this button, it will actually take us into which file?
Create input.php.
The create result
Also create result.php.
PHP, and we are going to be seeing that it is passing the F0 value and also the F1 value. So if I click on the insert, it will take us to the create result, and as you can see, it is actually passing the F0 value and also the F1 value, and they are being separated using the AND. So it is automatically doing that for you. And let us see how the create result is working. So the create result is receiving the value that we are passing here using the F0 and F1. So we need to find a way to extract the value that we have received. The way to receive the value is using a variable that PHP provides us. So the way we are providing this is using the get method, and if you want to receive the value, you have to use the $_get variable. So this variable is provided by PHP, and it allows you to extract the values from the URL. So what were the names of the variable that we had passed?
So F0, F1.
F0 and F1. So what we are doing here is that we are saying that, okay, hey get, we have a variable called F0, give me the value of this. So by saying this, I'm actually saying that, okay, give me the value, and we are actually receiving the value and receiving here, and so on for the F1 value. So this is how we are actually receiving the values. And again, what we want to do is that here we want to create the new record. So if we want to create the new record, we also want to connect it to the database. So this is how we are actually connected to the database. And using the same way, we are creating a variable called connect. And then what we want to do is that we want to execute the query for creating the connection or inserting a new value. So as you can see, this was the query for inserting a new value. And as you can see, we are using the syntax that we have learned in maybe DBMS lab, and we're inserting into the table T0. And as you can see in the values, we are not mentioning the ID, because since this is going to be an auto incremented value, we don't really want to mention anything, and it will automatically be updated. And we want to pass the values that we have given in the input box. So after executing the query, if there is an error, this function will run. So it will say that cannot execute query, and if everything is okay, it will say that okay, record was inserted, and we have an option to go back to the read.php. As we can see that everything was went successfully. So we have added this data. So let's try to read this again, and as we can see, we have created this data. So among the operations, how many operations did we do?
Sir, 2.
Out of the 4, we have done 2 of the operations. Okay, so let's quickly go through the rest of them, and you can do a hands-on practice. We have 2 other things. We have existing data. We can either delete them, and we can also update them. So let me go back to the read.php. So not only it allows you to read the data, it also allows you to edit and update this or delete this. So if you want to delete the data, you actually pass the ID to a file called delete.php, where we are actually receiving the ID and we are executing the command to delete it. So do you remember what was the command or the MySQL query to delete a row?
Delete from table.
Definitely it's row, and what you need to mention is that which column you want to delete by using the where clause, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now let me show you what is going on in the delete.php. So since we are passing the ID in the delete.php, we are receiving it here, and similarly we are connected to the database, and then we are executing this query that we are deleting from a table, and we are mentioning that okay, we don't want to delete all the rows, we want to delete only the ID where the ID is actually going to be this. So this is how we can actually delete stuff. So if we run this, let's say I want to delete this one, you can see that in the URL below, we are going to be deleting the ID of 4. So if I delete this, the record is deleted, and we can now go back and see that this database is now updated. So what I want you to understand is that this is the first thing that we're going to be giving it to the client, so that the customer can understand that they can actually interact with the database. So you don't really hard code the data, and you actually allow the client to do some interaction in the database. And what kind of interactions are we seeing? How many interactions?
3, sir.
Uh,
Create, update.
So far we have done 3, but we're actually talking about total 4 interactions, right? So we
Yes,
have
sir.
the last one here, which is going to be the update operation. So update is a bit complicated. So if you want to allow the client to update something, it's kind of like insert, but you actually have to populate the input boxes with the previous values. So let's say I want to update this particular row that I have created. If I want to update this, maybe I want to change something that is existing here. For example, I want to make the A's uppercase. So when I am clicking the update button, I would want that the pre-existing values are there, and I am changing only the existing values. So I don't want that there will be an empty form there, and I have to manually type all the existing data first. So how can I actually send the existing data to the form? So if I click on the update button, it should take me to a form where I should be able to update the form, the fields. But I want the fields to already contain these data. So I already have this data here. How can I send these data to that particular form? Using something that we have seen?
Yes, sir. By get method.
Yes, by using the get method. So what we are going to be doing here is that when we are calling this link, we are also sending the data that is already in this row. So if you look into the code, you will see that in the read.php, you have the update input.php, and here we are passing all the 3 data that we have received. So we have the ID, this is something we're passing. We have the F0 and also F1. So the data that we have received for this row, we are passing them to the update input. So in the update input, what we would want to do is that the data that we have passed, we are receiving it here, and that in the form, we have a similar form like something in our insert.php, but here we have one difference where we already have a value. So we have a value for ID, we have a value for F0, and we also have a value for F1. What is the purpose of having the value of ID? Why do we need the ID?
Sir, so that we can see which row it is.
Right. So we don't really want to update any row. We want to update a specific row. So we are actually passing down that particular ID of the row so that we can edit that. But we also want that the customer will, or the client will not be able to edit that particular ID. So we are creating this input, but we're also hiding it so that the customer does not see it. So if you click on the update button, for example, if I click here, you will see that we have already the form where the data is actually ready, but we also have another input box, but we cannot really see it because it is hidden. If you look into the form, you should be able to see this. For example, we have an input ID that contains the value 6, but this is hidden. When we are submitting the form, the ID and also the F0 and F1, all of them are going to be submitted. So if I update this, let's say to here, and if I click on the update, it should actually send the data to a PHP file that will update the result. So it is going to be sending the data to this particular file. So if I go to this file, you might have guessed what will happen. It will be receiving the data, and it will connect to the database, and it will run the query to update. So it will actually run the query to update where the ID that we have passed is actually this, and the rest is similar. If I click on update, it would actually do the update. And if I go back, I would see that the data is actually updated. So far, we have seen how to do the CRUD operations. Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So I want you to now open up the lab sheet and tell me how many of the objectives we have done so far.
Sir, 2 objectives.
2 objectives. So we have learned how to use the XAMPP and also work with the PHP, and we also seen how to use the PHPMyAdmin, but we have not really seen how to deploy this publicly. So I have the website right here in my own computer, but if I want you to access it, you will not really be able to access it. So let's say I have created this website and I want the client to see it. So one of the ways you can do that is by using screen sharing, but it's very problematic because the customer will want to have will have to have special software, for example, TeamViewer, installed in their computer, and that is a problem. So we don't really want that. We have a very easy solution for this, and that is using something called the ngrocks. So far we have followed this workflow. We have downloaded the softwares here, and then from the Crud folder, we have pasted them, and we have inspected the PHP files, and we have seen how to access them from our own browser. So now what we want to do is that we want the client to access our website. So the way we are going to be doing that is by using the ngrok. So have you all downloaded the ngrocks software? You download it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want you to open it. I think I have it here somewhere. Probably going to be in the software engineering lab. Yeah, so I have this exe file right here that doesn't look very nice. So if you double click it, you will see that it's a very simple command line. It's kind of like a C program. And what it does is that it actually allows you to publish your local host into its own website for a certain period of time. So what I can do is that I can create a tunnel from my local host into the internet using their website. So if I run the ngrok and I connect it to its website, it will actually give me a link. And this link is public, which means you will be able to access it, and then you will actually be able to access my local host. So the easiest way we can do that is using the example here. So if I run this example, so ngrok, http, and at. So if I run this ngrok and http and at. So what that means is that we want the port 80 to have a tunnel with the actual ngrok system. So if I put enter, it is connecting and it has started a online session, and it has given me a link. So we have two links here. One is a normal link, and another one is a secure link. So let me try to copy this link to you. And what will happen is that if anyone goes to this particular link, they will be able to access my local host now. And this link will be available for 2 hours, and probably maybe 20 people will be 20 requests will be listened. So can I have a volunteer from you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold up. So what I want you to do is that I want you to go to this link, and if you go to this link, you will actually see the local host. So I want you to go to the Crud. So let me also type that for you. So if you go to this link, you should be able to now access this page, or you will probably be able to see the index page. So from the index, I want you to go to the read page. Can you access it? Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want you to create a new record called B0 and B1.
Okay, sir.
Sir, command-টা জানি কি ছিল, sir?
Oh, the command is it's actually written as the first example. ngrok. The command is, let me type that for you. The command is ngrok and http 80. It is the first example. You can try this on your computer.
Sir, এখানে তো বলতেছে ngrok recognize করতে পারতেছে না, sir.
Are you running the ngrok?
জি, sir.
What you will have to do is you have to double click. You have to double click this.
Sir, command prompt আসছে, sir. ওইখানে দিছি, স্যার। ওইখানে আপনি যেভাবে দিবেন ওই কমান্ডটাই দিছি, স্যার। এখানে আসতেছে রিকগনাইজ করতে পারতেছে না ngrok.
So did you copy this and paste it here? So did you see this text?
জি, sir.
Okay. Is your XAMPP running? I think XAMPP is not running.
জি, sir, running.
So, oh, is it running? What is the error that you're facing?
Sir, Now, ngrok is not recognized as an internal or external command, sir.
Okay, so I think you have run this in a command prompt, right? I think
Yes,
you have
sir.
run it in CMD. You have run something
No,
like this,
no,
right?
sir. No, sir. ngrok এর স্যার we get আছে command prompt আছে স্যার ngrok এর যেটা provide করছে আর কি।
Okay, so I have a hack for you. So if you are facing this problem, go to the folder where you have the ngrok. Okay. Now in this address bar, click and type cmd. And here you type the command ngrok. Check whether the spelling is correct or not, and then http 80. Okay.
আচ্ছা স্যার আমি ট্রাই করে দেখতেছি স্যার।
Okay, so let me know if that works or not. What about the others? Is anyone else trying?
Sir, I created a data as you said.
All right, so let me see if the data is available. Let me try to refresh that. So as we can see, we have a new data. So as you can see, you can actually access my localhost. Now, can I have another volunteer?
Sir, I have faced the same problem that Mehdi Hassan faced.
That's too bad. So let me look into that. What you can do is you can actually email me, so I can actually look into your computer, so to understand what is actually happening. Or you can actually share your screen. Can you share your screen so that we can see what is happening there? Is that okay? Mehdi or Mahyuddin?
Yes, sir, I'm sharing.
Okay, so let me stop sharing so I can see what is happening there.
Sir, is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Sir, I actually use a virtual machine.
Oh, you are typing NGROCK. Is it? NGROK. It should be NGROK.
Okay, sir.
HTTP 80.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Right.
Okay. So I think that's good. What about Mehdi? Are you also doing the same spelling mistake?
না স্যার আমার প্রবলেমটা হচ্ছিল স্যার আমি এক্সট্রাক্ট করি নাই স্যার ফাইলটাকে স্যার এখন হচ্ছে স্যার।
Okay, okay. Right. So you had it in the zip file, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I want any other participant who can access my local host and they can delete or update stuff. Anyone else interested?
Yes, sir. I already.
Okay.
Yes.
Mahyuddin, so you can access the link. I'm sharing the link. I want you to go to the link and I want you to update a row.
Okay, sir.
Sir, your screen is not shared.
Yeah. Let me share that for you.
Sir, which row should I update?
You update the A row. You make it B.
Okay, sir. I just sat down.
Can you access this? Oh, it's done. So as you can see, we all can actually share our local host, and we can also see the website from our own computer. And I want anyone else to try to delete a particular row from here. Who will try?
Sir, I will try.
Okay, go and try to delete some row here from here. Oh, you have deleted all the rows, or is it the others?
So I deleted only one row.
Okay, I think
I think,
someone else.
sir,
I
many of
think.
us trying to access this.
Okay, so a lot of people tried to access, and everybody deleted one. And this reminds me of a story. So we had I think there was a jamidar, and he had a dream that he wanted to have a pond made of milk. So he asked all his subordinates to dig a pond, and then he asked all of his subordinates to come with a jug of milk, so that all of them would pour the jug of milk there, and it will become a pond milk, a pond made of milk. So one subordinate was thinking that, okay, everyone will take a jug of milk. If I take a jug of water, nobody will notice. But the problem is that all subordinates actually thought the same, and they all came with the jug of water, and eventually it became a jug of pond of water. So this is what happened.
Water.
So you are thinking that, okay, I will try to delete only one, but there are lots of people who are trying to delete one, and that's how we actually end up having no rows at all. Anyways, it was nice seeing that a lot of people now can access the local host, and this is how you can actually share your local host with others. Let me try to terminate this one. So if you want to terminate this, you will actually click right Control C, and it will actually end the ng here. So now let me go back to the lab chat. So did we do all the objectives?
Yes, sir.
Right? So the new thing that we have learned here is how we can actually share our local host without worrying about the web hosting server and everything. Now, the important question is, what will come to your online? What are we going to do in the online? So for this, we are going to have an hands-on practice. So I want you to have a look into the hands-on practice now. And tell me how you can do the first one.
So using XAMPP.
Yes, using XAMPP, and you will open up the phpMyAdmin, and then you will execute some of the commands. So what I want you to do is that I want you to modify the database file that we have. I think we have one file for this. We have a create db file. Yes.
So should we create the tables using the MySQL commands or by hard coding?
So what I'm going to be giving you is that so for now, what you do is you try to practice creating this. So what I want you to do first is that for easy access, I want you to modify this file. So I want to modify this file so that you have this particular database and the tables. For this practice,
For online?
for online, I am not really going to be having marks on the database. So what I'm going to be doing is that I would give you the table, and you can have it in any way you want. But I think this is the fastest way to create the database. If you try to create the database using the graphical user interface, it will take a bit of time. But from here, you can very quickly create the database. So I want you to modify the create db.text so that you can actually create this particular table right here and the database right here. So I'm giving you 5 minutes. You try to create the commands that will actually create this database and the tables.
Yes, sir.
Done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's wait 2 more minutes for the others to finish. So if you run the command, does it create the table actually?
So 1 minute, I didn't run these
Okay, no
commands.
worries. No worries. You try to run it and you try to create some dummy data.
Sir, done.
Done. 1 more minute. Okay. Can I hear from Abid? Abid, are you here? Abid is not here. Alamin? Uh, are you even in the class? That's strange.
Sir, I'm in the class, sir, but my jam is not working right now, sir.
Okay.
Uncertainly, it's not working.
Okay, so did you try to write the code? Did you download the Crud zip?
Yes, sir, I have downloaded, sir, but my jam is not working, so I'm trying to fix it, sir.
No worries. But did you do the class work? The
Yes, sir.
hands-on
No,
work?
no, 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 sir. So, but I have seen your video, sir. Continue seeing your lecture, sir.
You should have done the exercise because we have the file. You just have to modify the file, right? Without
Yes, sir.
them.
Yes,
So
sir.
you should have done that. So I want you to do the next part. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So do we have Alamin?
Yes, sir.
Alamin, can you show the progress? What did you do for the database?
Sir, I have no electricity, sir. I'm on phone, sir.
You didn't even write on the script?
Yes, sir.
Can you write on the script?
No, sir. I am on the phone, sir.
That's too bad. You should try to practice by writing on the script, okay, on the notebook, even if you don't have electricity, okay, so that you actually are with the others, because we have people who are actually typing in the computer, okay. Do you understand what I said?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then we have Orpita and also we have Adiba. Adiba, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Did you do the practice?
Sir, I'm trying. I haven't.
How much did you do?
Sir, I'm still doing it.
So are you typing the query?
No, sir. I was just trying to understand, sir. Sorry, sir.
You should follow the class in a better way, right? So
yes, sir.
people are
Yes, sir.
participating in the class. You should also participate.
Okay, sir.
Can I hear from Ajit? Ajit is not present. That's too bad. Mushfiqur Rahman.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay. Can you tell me what you did for the database?
Sir, till now, sir, I did nothing, sir.
Why?
Sir, I have to see the class, sir, from the beginning, sir, to properly understand, sir, everything.
Aren't we seeing the class from the beginning?
Sir, I was not there from the very beginning, sir. In the meantime, I was, sir, away in the other room.
Why?
Sir, So my mother called me for some reason. I was there on my PC. It was online in the class, but I was in the other room for some reason. And by the time I came back, sir, I missed many of the things that you said, sir. So that's why,
Okay.
sir, I cannot, sir, grab it, sir, properly.
This is not okay, because if this is an emergency, you can definitely go and come back. But if this is not an emergency, you should actually attend the class seriously. Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm trying my best, sir.
And also, if you miss anything, you interrupt
Yes,
me.
sir.
I will be very happy to repeat. Okay.
Okay,
But I don't really want you to be slack when we are doing the practice.
Yes, sir.
Mehdi.
স্যার এক মিনিট স্যার আমার প্রবলেম করতেছিল তো স্যার
So did you write or did you not write?
আই এম রাইটিং এক মিনিট স্যার
Okay, I really wished you would follow along. Safat?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay. Can you show the classwork that we were doing?
Sir, আমি actually খাতায় লিখছি কারণ স্যার আমি ফোনে।
Okay. So can you tell me where should we change in this particular file to create that database?
স্যার এখানে তো ফার্স্টে ডাটাবেস নেমটা হচ্ছে চেঞ্জ হবে স্প্রিং 2020 অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট সেটা হবে প্লাস হচ্ছে স্যার টেবিল এখানে যে স্যার টেবিলগুলো দেওয়া আছে সেখানে তো ফার্স্ট হচ্ছে ক্রিয়েট টেবিল টিচার তারপর হচ্ছে স্যার অ্যাট্রিবিউট
in the first line, we're going to have spring 22 underscore and assignment. Is there going to be any change in the second line?
Use yes sir. Use এখানে স্যার ওই যে ডাটাবেসের নেমটা হবে। স্যার অ্যাকচুয়ালি এই ইউজ কমান্ডের সাথে আমি মানে স্যার মানে যে আজকে স্যার ক্লাসে দেখলাম ইউজ কমান্ডটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি যখন স্যার আগে যখন করেছি আমরা ইউজ কমান্ডটা আসলে ইউজ করিনি এই কারণে স্যার এখন বলতে মানে আমি স্যার লিখতেও জিনিসটা মিস করে ফেলেছি।
Okay, so basically what happens is that this is a command line interface. So do you remember where do we run this from?
Yes sir, এটা হচ্ছে আমরা ওই যে XAMPP-এর যে ইয়েতে
Yeah, in the XAMPP we actually select the server, and in the server we actually run it in the SQL tab. So what happens is that
yes, sir.
when you are in the server, you don't really are inside any database, so you cannot just directly create a database. So if you want to create a database, the first thing that you need to do is that you need to say that okay, I am using this database, and inside this database I want to create these tables. Do you understand?
Yes sir.
That's why we are using this command, the use command. So the use command is there to basically select the name of the database. So what database are we are using, and the commands that we are going to be executing, in which database are we going to be executing the commands, right?
Okay sir.
Do you understand? So this is
yes,
the
sir.
reason for using the use command. Okay, and tell me where is going to be the change in this line?
Sir, এখানে create table teacher হবে।
Yeah, so we're going to create a table called teacher.
Yes, after that teacher ID, name and course ID. It sir is a column name হবে sir.
Yeah, so we have the columns. Let's say we have maybe teacher ID, the name, and the course ID.
Name and course ID.
So the teacher ID and the name is going to be character, and the course ID. The course ID can, in fact, the teacher ID, I'm not sure if this is a number or not. It will depend. For example, we have the teacher ID having our initials, so it will vary in different cases. So in our online, I'm going to actually give you the sample examples also, so that you can understand whether it's an integer or string. So we have these things here, and the course ID is going to be an character because it will contain character. And is it the only table that we're going to be creating?
No sir, there are also a table course.
There's also a table called course. Okay. And how many rows will they have?
Sir, columns, sir, two columns.
Two columns, right. Two columns. And one thing I forgot, I think, here, that we cannot write ID here because we have mentioned teacher ID. So it's going to be teacher ID. And in the course table, we are going to have two columns.
Course ID and title.
Course ID and title. We're going to have course ID, and that will not be integer, so it will be a character.
Character, yes.
Of having 30 characters, and it will definitely not have auto increment, and then it will also have the course title, which is going to be another character. And the primary key for this one,
course ID as a primary key.
We can use course ID as a primary key, so it's going to be a primary key here. So we're not really bothered about the foreign keys for now. So we're going to be saying that these two have these tables. So if I give you an online and I give you a database schema, and let's say I say that okay, there is going to be a mark on creating the database. So, and you will actually have to submit the database schema. In that case, you will actually have to submit this code, so that I can understand that okay, you have created the database. So if I give an online and I give you a schema and there is a mark on the database, you will actually have to create this schema, and then you will have to submit this schema with your submission to get that mark of the database. But if I say that okay, create the database in any way possible, and after that you're going to get the marks for all the PHP files and everything, in that case you can create the database in however way you want. So you can create it using the graphical interface, or you can also use the codes directly. And now we have the second part, which is going to be creating the following APIs. So I want you to focus on this one. So let me try to run this first. So let me try to, we are not really going to be inserting the values, or what we can do is we can actually insert a value to see what happens. So we have a teacher, and insert in the teacher, we are creating a teacher ID. It's going to be automatically incremented. We have a name, let's say Mr. A, and course ID. Let's say we don't really have a course for now, and let's try to insert another into another table, which is called course, and it will contain the value. Let's say we have CAC 322, and the title is going to be software engineering lab, and it does not really have anything else. Let's try to create that, and let's see what happens. And let me copy this and try to execute this. If I go to PHP myadmin, and you tell me how can I execute the instruction. We're going to select the server, and inside the server we're going to go to the SQL tab, and in this tab we're going to paste the query. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be pasting a code that we have created, and this is going to be a faster way of creating this, and let me try to create that. So if I run that, so we can see all green ticks. So we understand that okay, the Spring 2020 assignment is now created. So these are the data that we have created, and also we have the course and the teacher, and they contain the dummy data we have created. Okay. So again, if I tell you to create the database and there's going to be some designated mark for this, you're going to actually have to submit the database schema also. Now let's look into the second portion of our hands-on practice. So we are going to be creating the following APIs. So we need to create an API that will show the list of the teachers. How are we going to do that? Definitely.
So show list of teachers.
If you want to show the list of the teachers.
So you're fetching data from database.
And so the command that we're going to be
calling
running,
the API.
When we are
select
saying
all from teacher.
Yeah, select all from teacher. So by API, I am saying that okay, what is going to be the content of the PHP file that will actually fetch the data from the database and show it to the client. So basically, we have a read.php right here, and that is actually showing the content of another database. So this is a read API that is reading the content of the database. So we want this read.php to actually read from our own database. So if I want to read from our own database, how are we going to change this? Where are we going to be changing this? The first file we are going to be changing is
query
the
database.
Yes, the database configuration. So we no longer are accessing the DB0. We have now our own big database called, I think, Spring 2020 underscore assignment. So I think this is the name of the database. So let's see if that works. And the username and the password is the default. If you are creating your own project, it's a good idea to create your own username and password. And we want to implement the read API. So I don't really want to mess up this file. So let's create a new file. So we want to have each, for one file, we want to have one API, one file. So for each API, let's create one file. So if I want to create a read API for teacher, let's save that as read teacher.php. So there's going to be the reading operation. So let me copy this one and paste it here to save some time. So where are we going to be changing in this file if I want to see the teachers? What is the first thing that we're going to be changing?
So in this file, sir, query, sir.
The first thing that we're going to be changing is this line, which is the database query. So we're going to be saying that, okay, select star from not T0, but we have our own table. And the name of our table is
teacher.
I think teacher, right? So we have a table called teacher. So we want to select that. I think this is not the updated one. This is the update. So we have this database and we have the teacher. So let's try to update that. So we're going to be reading from the teacher. And then we're going to create a table. And in the table, we have different columns now. So we have what columns here? For the teacher, I think we have the teacher ID and the name and also the course ID. So the teacher ID is going to be the primary key. So it's better not to show this. So we're going to be showing the name and also the course ID. Let's try to show the course ID and the name. So we have the name and then we have the course ID. And then we have the delete and the update operation. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be fetching the results, and from the result, we now no longer have the F0 and F1. Who can tell me what will be the value of F0 and F1 for our case?
So name and course ID.
The name and course ID.
Yeah. So we now, instead of the F0 and F1, we have different column names. So the column names are going to be the variables. So now we are trying to print the name and the course ID. So they are going to be the name of the variables. So we're going to have $name, and then we have $course ID. You cannot have spaces in the column name, probably, if I'm not mistaken. So similarly, you cannot have spaces in the variable name as well. So this is how we are going to be showing the content. So this is how we are going to be creating the read teacher API. So if I now go to the local host, and then we do the CRUD operation, and then we do the read. It says we cannot execute query. Where did I make the mistake? Oh, read teacher. So we are doing the read teacher, not the read one. Read teacher.php, and this should give the variable. Oh, we have the ID. I think this is something that we had used in the links. So we should not be using these things, because these are the variables that were defined previously. So instead of the ID, we're going to have feature ID. And so similarly here, and inside the name, we are going to have the course ID. And inside the name, we're going to have the name. And inside the course, we're going to have the course ID. So this is something that we're going to be sending, but we have not done that so far. And that should get rid of the warnings. So this is how we are actually going to be seeing how we can actually read the data from the database. So it's so you tell me now, how are you going to be creating this read courses? Where are you going to be creating the making the changes if you want to implement the read course API?
So read.php. I mean, sir, the file we are editing.
So we are going to be creating a new file called
Yes,
read courses, and similar to this one. But where are we going to be changing? Are we going to be changing in the DB Connect also?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So we are connected to the same database. That's no problem. And what else?
So we have to change the query.
We have to change this line right here. And instead of reading from the T0, we are now going to be reading from the course table. And we are going to be reading the course ID and the title. And these are the things that we are going to be showing in these things. So we're going to have the course ID and the title. We are probably not going to be, we are going to be showing the ID also. So we're going to be showing the ID and also the title. And we are going to have some option for the delete and the update. So if I tell you to write the code for the delete and the update, then you will write the code for delete and the update in your online. So this is how you actually do the reading. So you tell me, how are you going to create this API right here?
So we just so assign teacher to courses. We just created teacher and sorry, sir. We just update the teacher table and add a course into it.
So we have to update the teacher table, and the thing that we're going to be updating is that the course ID. So if you think about it, what input do you need from the client for this?
Sir, the list of courses.
Sir, can you repeat the question?
Let's say I know which course I'm going to assign, and I know which teacher I'm going to assign it to. So what are the inputs that I'm going to be needing?
So teacher and course ID.
Yes.
The teacher ID and course ID.
Just the teacher ID and the course ID, nothing else. So if you want to have an interface, you will have to create a form, and inside the form, you are actually going to have two fields. One is going to be the teacher ID, another one is going to be the course ID. So let's try to do that. So if I want to, since we have a form, we are going to have two files for this. One is going to be the input, and another one is actually going to receive the input and work on the result. So let's try to create that. Let's try to create a new file that will actually have the name assign teacher .php. So this is going to be similar to which file?
So update.php.
We have a much similar file. The update.php. I'm talking about the front end. I mean the form. Does it require any preloaded file content? Does it require any preloaded data?
No, sir. Then
Not
sir,
really.
The existing data.
it will be, sir.
Since we don't need any preloaded data in the input, we can get away with create input, right? So
Yes,
let's copy this one. Let's copy this one and paste it here. So we are doing the assign teacher or assign course to the teacher, and it's going to do assign teacher, and the result is something that we're going to pass to. So what are the two data that we are passing here? One, the teacher ID, and what else?
Course ID.
Course ID. Course ID. And the data that we're passing should have the variable, let's say teacher. We can say anything, teacher ID, and then another variable that we're passing is called the course ID. It's something that we can do. Okay. and the data that we are trying to pass is going to be here. And if we click the submit button, these two variables are going to be in this particular file. So we have not created this file. Now let's create this file. If I want to create this file here and save it, assignteacher.php. Now we have a file like this, and what we want to do is that we would want to what will this file look like in similar to something that we have done earlier. This action is similar to which operation? Is it an insertion operation?
Yes, sir. No, I mean update operation, sir.
Yeah, this is an update operation. So let's try to copy something from the update. So we already have an update like this. So let's try to copy it from the update result. And so we have something like this. And what we're trying to do here is that we have the teacher ID and also the course ID. So based on the course teacher ID, we're going to assign the course here. So what we will do is that we are receiving two things. One is going to be the teacher ID, and another one is going to be the course ID. And we can actually copy this one because we have the same name, have the course ID, and we are actually getting the course ID from here. We are typing it from the database, and then we are getting the database here, and then we want to update. And what is the name of the table that we want to update?
So teacher.
In the teacher table, we have it in the lowercase. It doesn't really matter. We want to set the course ID to the variable of the course ID, and we don't really want to update anything else. And the condition where this is going to be updated is the teacher ID should be equal to the teacher ID. This is how it's going to update. And the rest of the things is similar. So we don't really want to go back to the read.php, and we don't really want the echo. We have to modify that. So we want to go back to the read teacher.php. Let's see if that works. And we also would want to create an API or a link to this. Let's try to link it to this particular link right here. So we have something called the read teacher, I think. So we have the read teacher right here, and it should take us to the not create an input, but we want to go to the assign teacher.php. Teacher.php, and we are saying that okay, assign a course to teacher. This is the link to our new API that we have just created. Let's try to run this again, and now we have the updated link here, which is actually basically this API right here, and we are clicking this one, and this should take us to the new form that we have created. Now, what is the name of what is the ID of teacher Mr. A? The name is Mr. A, and the ID is going to be 1. So we are assigning to Mr. A, which is the first teacher. And what is the course ID that we want to assign? We have only one course.
So 1.
The course ID, if you remember, is actually the string one, right? So we are not assigning numerical values. The course ID itself is going to be the code of the 322, right? So we are going to have 3 CSS 322, and we're going to be inserting that. If I do that, so it was done, and if I go back, I will see that this was not empty, and this is now updated. So basically, this will create an API for your system. So this is how you are creating the APIs for this. So if I tell you to do something like this, you will actually have to create this in the class, and you can take help from the files that we have created. But it's best to write on your own, but you can also take help from the files, no problem. And this one you can do easily. You can create a home page to show all the links, and I hope you had a good idea of how to do the basic CRUD operations. And did I miss anything in the workflow?
No, sir.
I think you have done all of them. So I have a homework for you that you can practice at home before you appear at the online. Do you remember when is the first online?
So the next class.
Next
No,
class.
we are going to have our first online on the 4th week. So what will happen is in the next class, we are going to have another discussion, and that discussion is going to be on Git. And after that class, we're going to have our first online, and in this online, we are going to be testing you about these Crud operations as well as the Git. So let's say I will give you a problem like this, and I will give you a table with the database and everything. I will ask you to create the APIs, and I will ask you to create particular Git commits into that folder, and you will submit your code and also your Git log. So based on your Git log, you will get some commit marks, and also the APIs that you have created, you will get the other marks. So do you understand what will happen?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to be testing your Git skill and also the Crud operation skills together. So if you want to do well in the online, you actually should practice the homework that we have. It's a slightly bigger one, but you can take your time and you can practice these things. So we have a database with 4 tables, and we have different APIs. So as you can see, we have APIs for particular tables. For example, we have APIs for the student that will work on only students, and we have APIs on the teachers and course and so on, and we have something called a cross module API. So if you think about it, we have if we are connecting 2 tables together, this is called a cross module API. So the API that we have just created is actually a cross module API because we are connecting one ID with another ID. So there are some dedicated APIs and there are some cross module APIs. So I might give you some common APIs and also some cross module APIs to test your skills. So you will actually have to create these things in the online, and I'm going to give you sufficient time for this. So is it clear what we have
Sir,
learned
is
today?
the homework is counted
No,
as
this
a
is not a
assignment
homework.
or is it only?
No, this is not an assignment. This is a practice. There's going to be actual home
Okay,
assignment
sir.
that I will give you formally. It's going to be a report, but this is only a practice for you to do good in the online. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this is not going to be something graded, but you should do this if you want to do well in the online. So this is so this is all I had for you for today's class. So let me conclude today's class, and I am expecting that you will be finishing your group formation by this week, and you will submit the group formation as well as the project plan. But if you did not finalize the project plan, still you should submit the team members, because this is really important. So in that way, I will actually get an idea of what how many students are actually left out from the teams, so that I can assign them to some other teams. Okay. And yes,
প্রজেক্টটা কি পিএইচপি দিয়ে করতে হবে?
no, not necessarily, but the online you will have to do with PHP. So the online one you cannot use something else, so you will have to use PHP in the online. Okay, but in the project you can use anything that you're comfortable with. Maybe you can use Django or Express.js or anything, no problem, as long as your other team members are comfortable with this. Okay, so do you remember what will happen at the end of the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you should stay and talk to your classmates, and you should try to decide which team you are in, and if you want to include someone or you want to join in someone's team, this is your chance. Okay, so let me conclude today's class here. It was wonderful to see that all of you participate in the class, and I will see you in the next class, inshallah.